1999, this is a micro comparative advantage question. I think sometime after this is obviously a very long time ago, they decided not to do terms of trade for micro, and you'll never see another one. They're all macro questions, but we're going to do this one anyway, just so we have it. Anyway, easy enough. Assume the countries A and B have equal resources. Equal resources lets us know it's an output problem. They have equal resources going into producing this. What they're competing on is the production, the output of production. What changes is output, not what goes in. So this is an output problem. We can see that for cloth, it looks like country B has absolute advantage in cloth because they can produce the most of it. If it's an output problem, whoever does the most has absolute advantage here. So cloth is obviously country B. I don't know why they did Y and Z here. No wonder we never saw this before. It's a crazy one. Country B has absolute advantage in cloth, if they ask it. Who has absolute advantage in the production of wheat? We can see they both produce the same amount of wheat, so no one has absolute advantage in the production of wheat. Cloth, we already answered, is B. Which country has a comparative advantage in the production of wheat, which has a comparative advantage in the production of cloth? Well, let's do our math here. Now, they're only asking for comparative advantage, so we could have done this very quickly here. Now, later on, we're going to talk about terms of trade down here, so we will need the numbers. But if you were only, like for a multiple choice question, you were only being asked clearly who has comparative advantage, you could do that very quickly. Let's do wheat and cloth just by cross-multiplying. So B can do 100, both of them can do 100 wheat, and then B can do 300 cloth and 100. So we could cross-multiply really quickly. 100 times 300, 30,000, I think, isn't it? 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, yep. And 1 and 1, 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 10,000. So for an output problem, we'll do the math to make sure that we're right about this. For an output problem, the largest number when you cross-multiply are the two who should be doing or producing the good. So it looks like A should do wheat and B should do cloth. This makes perfect sense in that they have the same number for wheat, but look how much more efficient B is. B can produce a ton more cloth than A can. So this makes sense to us. But now let's do the math. We know it's an output problem. Output problems mean the math goes over. So we'll do 300 over 100 and 100 over 300. And this is obviously just 100 and 100. This is both 1 and 1. 3 and the 1 is 0.33. A 1 and a 3 is 3. Again, when we look to see who has the lowest opportunity cost, we can see that A, for 1 wheat produced, A only gives up 1 cloth, or it costs it 1 cloth to produce 1 wheat, whereas B gives up 3 cloth to produce 1 wheat. For 1 cloth, B gives up 0.33 wheat, whereas A would give up 1 wheat for 1 cloth. So obviously we want the ones who give up the least amount of resources. That's the lowest opportunity cost. And we can see that it worked out the same way with our numbers there. And we would just explain that with who has the lowest opportunity cost, give them some numbers. With specialization in trade, which country will import wheat? Well, B produces cloth. B produces cloth, so they will import wheat. This makes sense. Obviously, if B produces cloth, they're using all their resources to produce cloth, they'd have to import wheat. And this makes sense because now A could specialize in wheat, B could specialize in cloth. Therefore, when one produces one thing, it has to import. It would export what it produces and import what it does not. Assume the two countries trade in that 1 bushel of wheat is exchanged for 2 yards of cloth. Why the country that imports wheat will gain from trade? The country that imports wheat would be B. So B imports wheat. Let's see here. 1 wheat for 2 yards of cloth. Well, right now for 2 cloth, right now B for 2 cloth, if we were to, we could just double that, right? We know they made for 1 cloth, they give up 0.33. Resources for 2 cloth, they'd have to give up 0.66. But think about that. If they could get more for 2 cloth than 0.66, again, B would be perfectly happy trading. Not happy, they wouldn't trade at all, but they could exchange 0.66 wheat for 2 cloth, and there would be, he wouldn't lose, he wouldn't gain, there's no reason. But if he could get one whole wheat for 2 cloth, definitely be better off than 0.66, right? Obviously, if you could get more for the same thing, you would be better off. So B would benefit, and we would just explain that as with 2 cloth, it gives up 0.66 wheat, but if it could exchange 2 cloth for 1 wheat, it would be better off. All right, guys, be safe. Take care.